Today on Rolonda, we have a guest who has never spoken to any show in the United States. This exclusive interview is with a woman who has made international news because of her extraordinary announcement. She's pregnant. Not with just one, not just two, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Mandy Allwood is expecting 8 babies. Mandy's boyfriend, Paul Hudson, was dismayed that she had taken fertility drugs behind his back just to help her get pregnant. He was against it from the very beginning. Mandy says that she's going to have all of those 8 babies, even though doctors are warning against it. They argue that carrying 8 fetuses to term could be a life or death matter, not only for Mandy, but for her babies as well. Well, at 5 months pregnant now, Mandy joins us for this exclusive interview via satellite from London, along with her boyfriend, Paul Hudson. Folks, I'd like to say welcome to America via satellite. How are you guys dealing with this as a couple? I can imagine that when you first heard the news that you had 8 babies, what was your first reaction?
Well, the first I heard about it, she said the doctors told her there were 4. And then she was supposed to come back a week later because they found another 3 sacs, they call them. And they wouldn't be able to see whether there was a heartbeat there until in a week's time. So 1 week later, she came back and told me there were 7. And I just said, well, that's fine, I'm interested now.
You're interested now. Paul, wait a minute. I'm going to sit down on this one. I've got to say that if I heard 7, 8 babies, I mean, were you as calm as you are now? I mean, wasn't that like the biggest shocking thing that you heard?
No. I'm an extremely calm person anyway, and so is Mandy, and we weren't excited about it at all.
Mm-hmm. Mandy, I understand that you already have a son already, so why were you taking fertility drugs?
Well, I've got a condition known as polycystic ovarian disease, and although I'd already got pregnant naturally twice, I needed a booster, and I did not take...
You certainly got that, didn't you?
I didn't actually take the full course. All I did was take 2 ampules of Metrodin, and that was it. So those 2 ampules, the doctors have told me that that hasn't made a difference.
The facts are they should never have worked. They should never have conceived 8 babies
without taking
2, without taking the course, and 1 called Pregnal.
That's right.
And those weren't taken.
So you only took 2 doses of the fertility drug and ended up automatically with 8 babies. I understand, Paul, that this was something that you were adamantly against, that you were not into this fertility drug business.
No, because I'm not infertile, that's why. The facts are, she took them without telling me because she desperately wanted to have a child for her son. And she knew that if she told me, I would have gone absolutely spare. And I'd warned her not to take any drugs or anything of that form. And when I was ready to have children with her, yeah, I'd support if she wanted to go down that course. But,
so you say when you were ready to have children, I take it you were not ready to have children?
No, we discussed it.
We were discussing it, but I told her to leave it till the end of the year anyway. And even when we found that she was carrying eventually 8 babies, I told her that we weren't to tell anybody until at least the end of November. I didn't want it publicized, not for a financial reason or any other reason. I just wanted to keep quiet. We both did. And it was just a TV station over here that broke. They broke the news prematurely.
Well, you have shocked the world. If you have all 8 of these babies, it will be a world record. Nobody has ever done it. In fact, the medical community across the world is extremely concerned about Mandy, about the babies. And I understand that they have even asked to go through some of the selective choices. In other words, breaking, you call it what you want, but it's basically choosing to keep maybe twins, as the doctors have told you, and eliminating the other 6 so that you have a healthy chance.
Well, before anybody found out about the fact that the world knew that she was carrying 8 babies, we went and saw, there was a lot of medical consultants that were getting very excited from the fact that by taking 2 of these Metrodine, she'd actually produced 8 babies. And there was a story over here that broke with a woman who'd reduced from twins to 1, and there was a big, it was big national news over here.
So why would you not want to do that? And I'm not making a judgment call, I'm just very curious. If there's so much at stake, I mean, the chances are you could have damaged babies, you could die yourself, Mandy, your children may not. I don't want to cast any negativity, I really don't, but the reality is, it is a tremendous health risk. I just want to know from you what it is that makes you want to carry 8 babies to term.
You want to go first, or shall I?
Let Mandy answer, Paul.
Well, when we went to see Kypros Nicolaides at his consultancy practice, we were told to reduce down to maybe twins or just two babies. It was actually the twins. With selective reduction, you have to, it depends on where the babies actually lie as to which ones to actually choose to basically, stop the heartbeats. They're supposed to dissolve in your body after when you're 20 weeks. But that's not always the case. It depends on each woman's body. I mean, I could have selective reduction. You could have selective reduction. You could be okay. I could maybe miscarry. So, and as well with our first meeting with the consultant, Paul's question was if my life was at danger at all.
At any point, just to say so. At any point, we terminate the pregnancy. And the answer was no. Her life was in danger, and who knows, everybody's different. I'm not against abortions at all, but having to reduce from 8 to 2 wasn't an option in my view. I gave Mandy the option, said, Mandy, terminate them now, or you carry on if you feel well enough to do so.
Mandy, do you really, you've thought this out, I take it. Are you sure you know what you're getting into? 8 babies?
Yes, we know exactly. We're not unintelligent people.
Paul, I want to hear Mandy answer this, because she's the one who's got to deliver those 8 kids. Old Paul sitting up there with a little bitty waist trying to answer the question. Mandy, I just have to say, having 1 baby, I'm sure, is a tremendous challenge. And I just think about you, just woman to woman. Girlfriend, are you sure this is what you want to do?
Well, I've had a lot of time to think of it, but when I found out when I was 7 weeks pregnant, and yes, I could have taken the route of reduction, but in my own mind, I think it's a lot to do with your state of mind, and I'm a very positive person, and I know in my own mind that I could, carry this through, and I have amazed doctors. As you can see, I'm fine, I'm healthy. And actually the consultants have said that I am better than someone that's carrying 1 baby, let alone 8. So, I'm fit, and I'm just looking forward to, seeing all the 8 babies alive and well. And it's a myth about the babies being, okay, there is a risk of maybe the babies being damaged or whatever, but people just don't know the facts, and people are very ignorant, and some people are very spiteful, and without even really knowing the facts at all.
Let's take a break, because I know that you have been very dismayed over the spitefulness of some people who claim that you guys are just doing this to make a bunch of money off the tabloids, that you guys are trying to do this for money. There's some people who really question this, and I'd like you to answer that. Mandy has been in the serious relationship for Paul for 2.5 years now. He is the father of the 8 babies. Yet I understand that he does still date other women. The question is this going to change once the baby comes along? This is going to change the relationship. I want you to stay with us as we continue this exclusive interview entitled, I'm Pregnant with 8 Babies, the Mandy Allwood story. The news that has shocked the world and caused quite a brouhaha in the medical community all across the nation and all across the world. Today on Rolonda, this exclusive interview from London, England with Mandy Allwood, the woman who actually shocked most of us when she and her boyfriend Paul announced that she is expecting and plans to deliver eight babies. Man, have you had any cravings, Mandy? I would think that at 8, I mean, you know, I gotta ask, I'm sorry. But with 8 babies, I can imagine your cravings are going wild.
The only cravings I have had is roast potatoes, jacket potatoes, and a cooked breakfast, basically. That's about it. But I've been eating very, very well. Obviously, the doctors have been telling me that if I don't eat, then basically they'll be eating me alive.
No.
So I have been constantly eating, but I am I'm very small anyway. I'm very, very petite when I'm not carrying 8 babies. So, but I have enjoyed eating, I must admit. I'm not putting on any weight at all, actually on my body, just on my tummy, obviously.
Mandy, I said you eat anything you want carrying 8 babies. Absolutely. Paul, you guys have been in this relationship for a little more than 2 years now. You are 5 months pregnant with 8 babies. Life changes when babies come along. Relationships have to adjust a bit. Paul, my question to you is, I understand that even though you are with Mandy, you are still dating other women. Is that... what kind of relationship is this that y'all have?
I wouldn't even call it an open relationship. The fact is, I have 2 children with someone else, and I've known Mandy for 5 years total, my children come first. My children come before me. Mandy, the mother of my other children, they're number 1 in my life. And I go regularly to go and see them. Mandy,
is that good enough for you?
Well, I've known about, obviously, his children. You know, they're on the scene before I came along. And obviously, with myself having a son, I would never keep my son away from his father.
But I've got to imagine that as a woman who is about to give birth, hopefully, to 8 children, that you want your man to help you and be with you, not running around with a bunch of other women.
Believe me, I'm not stupid. I really am not. I've very much got a mind on my own.
A lot of folks in here. What is it? Well, I'm hearing something, some rumbling over here. What are you saying? We've got a studio audience here that's really reacting to this, Mandy. It's hard for us to understand. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. First of all, congratulations. Secondly, my question is for your wife, Paul. Okay. God forbid anything happens to her during this delivery. Are you prepared to take care of 8 kids plus your other 2?
I'm prepared to take care of 20, never mind 8 or 10. I've been taking care of Mandy's other child as well as my own. And the mother of my child has also got one daughter by a previous relationship.
How are y'all?
I paid for her to go to private school and to get the best education possible.
Paul, how are you going to blend all of this? I mean, Mandy clearly is going to need help, clearly from the father of the children. Are you going to live together? Are you going to have to change your living arrangements? What are you planning?
Well, we're talking about it. I'm actually more domesticated than Mandy is.
That's true.
Which she'll admit to.
Well, she's going to be domesticated now. How are you going to set up your living arrangements with 8 children? I mean, that's got to be just simple things that we take for granted you're going to have to really adjust to.
We've both got our own properties. We've both got our own houses. And it's a case that I come and see Mandy as often as I can. But I'm a lot too domesticated for her. So if she puts something down in the wrong place and I don't like it, I just leave.
Mandy, are you afraid that this man is going to desert you when these children come along? Do you fear that he's going to desert you?
No, not at all, because, as I say, I have been with Paul now 3 years, November. And I've seen him with his own children. And at least I've seen that side of Paul, that he's a good father and is a good provider. So that was my main wasn't really a concern.
How do you provide for 8 children at one time? We're going to talk to you about that as well. Also up next, you're going to meet the controversial press agent who sold Mandy's story to London's News of the World tabloid. He's getting a lot of heat these days, and he's a money monger. We'll see right after this.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Rolonda, and I hope that you'll subscribe and follow so many of my other activities on my Rolonda channel, including some stand-up comedy, some podcasts, some great auntie advice, and loads of laughs and lots of fun. So subscribe and stay tuned. Now, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us today, we're delivering to you an exclusive interview. We are joined by Mandy Allwood, the 31-year-old woman from London, England, who is 5 months pregnant with 8 babies and says she plans to have them all. This gentleman had a question for the couple, for Paul and Mandy.
Paul, I'd like to know what kind of work do you do to supply for 8 babies plus 2, 1 of yours and 1 of hers?
Well, I'm in the property game. I'm not in the Mike Tyson league for earning money, but I'm already looking after 1, 2, 3, 4. So another 8 won't be a problem.
Paul, what do you do?
I'm what you call a property consultant.
You're a property consultant.
I buy properties and sell them for a profit.
My question is for Mandy. I want to know, is the reason why you having these 8 babies is to keep him or to make your relationship closer?
No, not at all. Because with any man you're with, if they want to go leave you or go off with another woman, they're going to leave anyway. You can't buy love. So with any relationship, you've just got to, keep your man, and if they're going to leave, they're going to leave. So what can you do?
Paul, why won't you marry her?
No, it's not Paul. It's not just all Paul.
What, don't you want to hear this answer, Mandy? Paul, why have you not considered?
Because we've already discussed it. Because when I've had, I've been married when I was 21, and I really don't want to get married.
You don't want to get married, Mandy?
No, I don't. And if
really?
he asked me tomorrow to get married, I wouldn't marry him.
What do you say?
Marriage don't make you a good father.
Well, I'm just curious to know, how do each of your children feel about that? I mean, I kind of feel like you're serial breeders. Each of you have children all over the place, and do they care? I mean,
That's your opinion.
do they?
That's your opinion.
So the question is, how are the other children dealing with this announcement that Mom's about to have 8 more?
The eldest of the other children is 6 years old. Then there's Mandy's son is 5 years old. My other 2 are 3 years old and 9 months old. And they're two.
Paul, what do the other women in your life think about the fact that Mandy is having 8 of your kids? What is their reaction?
The other women in my life
There's only one.
there's 2. One's my mother, and the other one's the mother of my 2 children.
Okay.
The thing is,
Well, a lot of people think that all of this is a big money scam. There are lots of folks who are criticizing the couple because of that. I'd like you to welcome Max Clifford there, who is the press agent who sold Mandy's story to London's News of the World tabloid. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd like to know why you decided to sell the story.
Well, it's very simple. The story was about to come out. Paul had let people know in the Midlands, where both Mandy and Paul lived, that this was going to happen. And the story was about to break. Now, if the story is going to break, it means the whole world's media is going to descend on you. If that's the case, then you need to be in a position where you can look after yourself. The best way to look after yourself is to get the biggest newspaper in this country, and in fact, the biggest selling newspaper in the world, to wrap themselves around you and give Mandy the protection and the care she's been getting for the last 6 weeks.
Max, question from the audience.
I have a question for Max and Paul. I'd like to know if you feel like you hit the lottery. I read that you're going to get $150,000 for each baby. That's $1.2 million. That's a nice little lottery.
It's easy to answer. You know, you're totally wrong. There's no discussions been made along the lines of how many babies that Mandy might
So
have.
what is the deal?
The deal is very simple. Mandy and Paul are being paid a lot of money for their exclusive story, a story which has created huge worldwide interest.
Can you give us an idea of how much? Because I hear they could make as much as $1 million just on the residual effects of having the baby.
No,
a lot of
well,
different
actually,
deals.
Well, see, this is where you get misquoted. Because you sell a story to one newspaper over here, all of the other newspapers that don't get the story then attack you and try and discredit you, even though they desperately wanted the story themselves. That's how the system works over here. The fact is, I've said that if Mandy, God willing, is going to give birth to 8 healthy babies in a not too distant future, they're going to need something like £1 million worth of financial aid, sponsorship, over the next 10 years to bring up 8 children.
Now,
In
Max,
other
are
words,
you going to be there still trying to help them get some money down the road when these kids are starting to go to school and all those bills are mounting up and it's out of the news and it's old news? Are you still going to be there helping this family?
Well, most of the people I look after, from the time I launched the Beatles in 1962, I've been around for year after year after year. I represent some of the biggest stars in the world.
Like
and in this
O.J.
country-
Simpson, you got to Oxford over there in London.
That's quite right, and it worked very well for O.J. Simpson. It was a great success for O.J. Simpson, as he's the first to admit. It's the first time in a long time that people have actually listened to what the man had to say, and he didn't get the total prejudice he gets in your country.
On that note, oh, some hands went up over that one. When we come back, Max, I think we have some responses to what you said. We're going to also meet a doctor who says that Mandy, that this is really, really very, very serious. The doctor who says that Mandy could die, so could the babies, if she has octuplets. We're going to talk about the dangers and the great risks that this couple is taking right after this. See that hospital costs for multiple births up to $300,000, and that's just if you have 5. That's in this country. If you are just joining us, we are bringing you an exclusive interview today with Mandy Allwood, who stunned the world when she announced she is having 8 babies. And doctors all across the world say that if she has all of the babies, she could die. Joining us here in the studio is Dr. John Elliott. He's co-director of maternal fetal medicine in the obstetrics and gynecology department at Good Samaritan Regional Medical Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, you say that Mandy is really risking her life by having.
I think she really needs to be aware that there are risks to her life. They are real risks, and they can't be discounted and just say they aren't there.
What are the major risks? I would think death would be the most tremendous risk.
That would
but
certainly
what are
do
some
it,
other
yes.
risks to the mother and the babies? I mean, that's the ultimate risk.
Well, the mother faces significant risks of hypertension, a disease called preeclampsia or toxemia that really affects a lot of high-order multiple gestation. She also risks bleeding, and also at the time of delivery, because the uterus is so distended, oftentimes it will not clamp down, and so we end up having to do hysterectomies at that time, and the blood loss can be tremendous.
And what about the babies if they are born? How will they be normal?
Well, it depends on the gestational age, Rolonda, that the babies achieve. 24 weeks is the earliest that babies can survive in general. And so she has not reached that yet. And so the next few weeks and months are going to be the key for her. If babies are born at 24 weeks, survival is around 50%, and intact survival, where there's no damage to the babies at all, is about 15%. So if they were to be born at 24 weeks, which would be lucky in this case, there would be an incredible chance that the babies would die, and those that lived would potentially be damaged, yes.
How do they even survive 8? I mean, I'm no disrespect, but it's a litter. I mean, how does that survive in one body? 8 children, 8 babies. That boggles my mind.
You know, I've not dealt with 8 before. 5 is the most that we've taken care of. That was a squeeze. 8's got to be even worse for that.
Yeah. Mandy, I've got to ask you this. It's traumatic for anyone to lose a child. And I'm just wondering how you are mentally, emotionally preparing for the fact that you could lose up to 50% of your children. I mean, are you really prepared for the consequences of the risks that you're taking?
Well, I say that the short amount of time that we have to speak to you today, I wish we could speak to you for, hours and hours, because there is so much, obviously, that you do not know. You've just read in the papers, the papers in America, and it's very frustrating that you're getting the wrong picture of us both. Yes, that we're doing it for the money, and it's totally incorrect. And as regards, saying that my life is at risk, yes, I do know the consequences. It's like with any lady that's having just one baby, there is a risk there. I've had a miscarriage before. I was carrying twins, which were Paul's. So I have, been through that traumatic experience of miscarrying.
And that wasn't enough to tell you that maybe you should think about what the doctors are advising?
But the doctors over here, Rolonda, they are very, very positive. I've just been to the doctor today. I've been to see the professors, and I had the scans, and they're amazed because the position that the babies are in, and also as well, the oxygen supply is better than a baby, even one baby.
Mandy,
as
I don't
well,
want
with
you.
the blood supply.
I want to say that I don't mean to be the voice of doom. Please understand that it's just a deep concern that I have for you. I would say that if you make the decision to have 8 babies, you are quite a woman, and I'd wish you the best. Please understand that. We are going to meet the parents of these beautiful quadruplet babies, and we're going to hear if they support Mandy's decision to keep her 8 babies right after this. An exclusive interview today that we're bringing you via satellite from London, England. It's the amazing story of Mandy Allwood, soon to be super mom, you might say. She is pregnant with 8 babies. And Mandy, you are for 5 months pregnant. You are, do you mind, can you stand up for a second and let's just see? This is 5 months with 8 babies. Yeah. Wow. Mandy, a lady here had a question for you. Come on, stand up and ask your question.
This is to Mandy. How are you having natural childbirth, Cecilian? How are you having these babies?
Well, I'm checked obviously every week that goes by. I'm obviously checked to see how I am actually by a physician. And then eventually I'll go into hospital and have a cesarean. That's the only way, really. I mean, obviously I couldn't deliver them naturally because there'd be too much of a risk. No, it'd be cesarean section.
Paul, we found 4 of your cousins here in the audience. Stand up here. These are Paul's cousins, and when you heard the news that cousin Paul was to have 8 more kids, did you say to ask him if he was crazy? What did you say?
No.
What did you say?
Paul, hi, Shirley here. No, honest, yes. Hi, Paul.
I'm glad
It's
you
a
could make
family
it.
thing.
Honestly speaking, I'm not really against him having 8 babies because people, in-house have 10, 8, or 7, not at the same time. So if this happened, if it's the will of God, well, miracles do happen. She didn't deliberately go out to get pregnant with 8 babies. So if it does happen, what we have to do is support her, because if she's thus this far, all we have to do is watch to see what happened.
Well, you see that she's going to need family for sure.
She's bringing life. She's not taking it. So fine, all right.
Let me introduce you to Marion and Michael. They are the proud parents of quadruplets. All of them girls, gorgeous girls. Look at them. There's Morgan and Monique and Makila and Mercina. How are you, beautiful girls? Oh, they're precious. When you hear this story, I mean, what was your story? Did you have more than 4 at one time, or? No, just 4. That was it. That was it.
Please.
When you hear this, and Mandy and Paul, and you've got to give it to them, they're standing by their decision to have the 8 children. Do you agree with that, based upon what you're going through?
Courageous.
She is courageous. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oops. How do you handle 4? Is that like...
Well, you're getting a dose of it right
I know,
now.
I just want... Do you think that they will be able to handle 8? That's double what you have here.
They're going to have to.
Yeah.
If they have 8 children, they're going to have to handle it. Yeah. Simple as that. It's going to be a job, but they're going to have to.
Yeah. There you go. Daddy, you got your hands full there.
You know, like my 15-year-old can take care of 4 babies. She had to learn. She never had to take care of a baby. And so did we. And so will they.
So you just say you have to roll with the punches, so to speak.
Roll with the punches, that's right.
What do you say to Mandy? Why don't you speak across the waters? Here, come.
She sees her grandmother.
Where's Grandma? Look. Hello, precious. Hello. Come here. Come on. Come here, precious. Oh, there we go. Golly. 2 is a handful. What? Hi. Oh, gosh. 2 is so much. I'm thinking about what... Go back to Mom. What do you say to Mandy? If you had words of advice from mom to mom, what would you say?
I think you need a lot of support, a lot of family support, and I think, Paul, your life's gonna change.
When we come back, we're going to meet a doctor who has personally delivered more than 10,000 babies. We're interested to see what his advice might be for Mandy and Paul, and we'll continue with these little ones right after this. Golly, look at your...
So I hope you're enjoying this episode, and I hope you will subscribe and continue to enjoy. Just wanted to let you know that my voice acting masterclass is now digital. If you are somebody who's interested in being a voice actor, please go check it out. Go to Rolonda.com, Rolonda.com. That's my website, and you can check out all the details and even enroll in my voice acting masterclass. Hey, you'll never know how good you are until you try. Now, let's get back to the show.
Yes, please. For the first time on national television, the exclusive story of Mandy Allwood, the woman who made international headlines with the extraordinary announcement that she plans to give birth to 8 babies. Quite an incredible story. You are, come here. You hold them. You say what? You see me hold them? And look at there. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of you too. Yep. Did we find some more quadruplets over here, Dad?
Yes, you sure did.
As you're listening to Mandy and Paul's story, what do you say? What advice do you give?
I guess after they get over the shock of knowing that you're going to have multiples, to be calm, relaxed, go with the flow. Try not to get too excited. I know there must be a lot of media attention. Try to block that out. Be concerned about yourselves, your wife's health, and the babies. I think that's the main thing. Try to cut out the media if that's possible in your mind, but try to be nice and calm.
Right. How'd you get through this, Mom?
I don't know. I'm not finished yet.
No. Do you have any words that you would say from mom to mom across the seas there?
Just gotta hang in there and have a positive attitude all the time. That's it. I mean, that's the whole thing in a nutshell.
That's it. Oh, I'd like you to welcome Dr. Niels Larson. He's a fertility specialist, author of the book Getting Pregnant. When you hear, please stand up, when you hear this, we're talking back and forth, we've had the medical community across the world saying that this is totally unhealthy for Mandy and really some serious warnings for her and the baby. What do you say?
Well, Mandy, it is a problem because 8 babies is a lot of babies to have, and there's a big risk of a premature birth, and I think that you really should speak to your doctors to try to be in a hospital soon. I believe you probably have a stitch around the cervix to hold the babies in.
That's right, yes.
They've done that,
Sorry,
yeah.
I can't hear you very well.
I'm sorry. Are they giving you pills or medication to stop labor?
No, not yet. It's not. Obviously, that will come very soon.
I think they should do it very soon. I mean, you know, you see here we have 2 set of quadruplets here, which is I help bring to the world. But you know, in order to be successful, you should start, I think, to be hospitalized very soon. I understand Paul and you. I think it's right. Do not reduce because you're killing babies. If you reduce 2, you might lose them all. I've seen them many times.
So you say don't reduce?
Do not reduce. Yeah, I think you're doing right.
You say do reduce. Now we have 2 conflicting sides in the medical community. We have one doctor who says reduce. We have the other who says don't. How do you guys?
Well, I don't know. I delivered about 7 or 8 quadruplets and a lot of triplets and one with 5 babies. And you need doing. You should certainly go to the hospital soon. Speak to your doctors, your consultants tomorrow. Be in a hospital. Be treated with medication right now. They can give injection every week to mature the lungs of the baby and hospitalize so early on because, as Dr. Allwood said before, if you can gain another few weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, there's a higher chance you can make it. When you're 28 weeks pregnant for 7 months, then the chances are pretty good.
Will you think you will get through this labor okay, and how will you fare when it's all over?
Yes, I'm positive that I will do. As I say, it's all very well saying that a person is very positive, but the saying is, you know your own body. And I know in my own mind, with support from Paul as well, and also a good team of consultants and professors, that I know myself that I will be successful. I'm successful in most things that I do, and I know myself that I will give birth to all 8 and they will be healthy.
Okay, we'll continue right after this, Mandy. We've got to take a break and I'll get to your question, and we'll be right back in a minute. You just saw on your screen there is if you're having a problem with fertility, call Resolve and they can certainly help you make some decisions on your own. You had a question.
Okay, what I wanted to say is years ago no one thought that multiple births were possible at all. Now you see before you the evidence that it is possible. I think that Mandy has a lot of courage. Miracles do happen. My prayer is that the medical community should get behind this woman, give her the help that she deserves, because things can happen.
Positively, you're saying they can work out. Thank you. Paul, I understand that you're thinking about writing a children's book, that you've already got, and you already have some names. You say the names of the characters will possibly be the names of the baby. That's what I'm hearing in the tabloid. Let me tell you the names I hear you're thinking about. Zora, Chaz, Petra, Buster, Devlin, Cutie, Ralph, and Joey. Is that right?
Yeah, the last one's Bill Clinton.
Oh, gosh, I'm not sure you want to do that. Dr. Elliott had a few things that you just wanted to say. As we're going into, gosh, the last few months of this pregnancy, what do you advise for Mandy?
At this point in time, she needs the excellent medical care that Dr. Nicolaides will provide to her. There are a lot of things, and Dr. Larison mentioned some of them, that are going to be necessary to try to get her as far as she can go. Her diet is very, very important, and when we have quadruplets or quintuplets, we recommend a weight gain of between 75 and 100 pounds. Ooh. Which, when you tell a woman that, it just shocks them.
Oh, you're not as shocked me. But let me ask you this. Is this I know that if the babies do survive, this will break a world record. Never has this been done before. But I must ask you, if using fertility drugs, which a lot of women are doing these days, is it normal to have 8 and then you go through the process of elimination down to a more handleable number?
Well, we as professionals don't like to see that happen. It's a byproduct of trying to get pregnant with 1. And in doing that, trying to manipulate the hormones and how many eggs are ovulated, how many are put back.
So this could happen to someone, say, in this country who's going to go see their fertility doctor?
It's a risk that everyone that goes to see an infertility doctor has that risk if they're going to use these powerful drugs, yes.
Do you fear that you're going to see more Mandy cases?
I think there's no doubt about that. We see a lot of them now. Mandy's one of the few, if only, that have tried to carry this kind of 8 babies. So there are others that conceive 7 or 8 and elect to selectively reduce down, which is the option that they have, or to carry as Mandy is doing.
And we'll be right back in a minute. We'll be sure to watch when Mandy has the 8 babies. Hopefully she will have them all. Hopefully they will be all healthy and well. Mandy, I've got to commend you on the tremendous courage that you have. You are truly a super mom. There's no question.
I really don't think of it like that. I mean, people say, oh, you're going to be a world record and all this. It never even crossed my mind, you know. I didn't look at it like that at all.
Mandy, there was a curious question during the commercial that we asked. How will you, because many women, especially in this country, are raising their families on their own. We know it can be done. But I have to ask you, how do you plan to raise these children if, let's say, you have to do it by yourself?
Well, as I say, Max here is talking to sponsors. Obviously, I'm not going to rely on that totally. I'm very business-minded, and eventually I'd like to set up my own business as well. So I am, you know, a good mother, but also as well, I'm not the kind of person that just sits there waiting for people just to, you know, hand me money or whatever.
Donations.
We will continue to check in with you, Mandy. Do well. Paul, take good care of her. And thanks so much for being with us. Thanks for being with us today. To all of our families, all of our doctors, all of you, thank you. And we'll see you next time on Rolonda. Bye-bye.